I'm just going to iterate the fact that digital marketing, right, only works if you understand people, right? So that's the value of digital marketing. So just small background why I'm really passionate about small businesses and how I got to Digify Africa. 10 years ago, I studied a degree at UJ, BCom Information and Knowledge Management, not marketing, right? So I learned about data, information, how people consume information, how technology works, and how people interact with technology. Then I met my business partner who studied marketing. So the two came together, and when we graduated, we started a digital marketing agency. That was 2013. Very quickly, there were not a lot of big agencies in terms of digital that were black. So we thought we were going to go out into the industry, kill it, and become big, right? You can imagine 2013, a 22-year-old walks in and says, I can tell you what to do with your social media, and this is how you can get more customers. It was very tough. So that's where my small business passion really got kicked off, because there were a lot of other young guys that were starting businesses. But I knew for a fact that technology and digital marketing was the way to go for small businesses. So when we started getting big clients, the small business clients came to us, you know. First person that ever came to us was Skinny Spoo Socks. So Spoo comes and says, yo, I'm starting the sock thing, I'm selling socks, and I need help with social media. By the way, Spoo was a terrible client, it didn't work out. But in that series of, it was bad. We're still friends, but yeah, not client, no, we can't work together. So in that season of 2013 till today, people like Joe, people like Letabo, we've all been in the same community helping each other with these skills. So I wanted to find a way on how can I give these skills for free, because they were working for big brands, right? But imagine when Capello says, I'll pay you this much to handle my social media, then Spoo, with his 75 Rand socks, also wants the same effort. Of course, you're going to go for the big guy, right? So that's where the challenge is that the big companies have the budget, have the resources, have all this stuff to produce great ads, have research, understand audiences, and then be able to sell to you, right? And you're a small business trying to play in the same space. What do, right? All you have is a smartphone and some internet and a brilliant idea. So what happens, right? So that's why I decided, after business not going well, I decided, okay, I'm going to make a pivot. Okay? I'm really passionate, so I'm going to go into the space and teach people what I know, and that's going to be my business. So that's what I do now. I teach, but I teach at Digify Africa. So today, we're going to talk about small businesses, right? Who can guess right now how many small businesses in the world? In the world, globally. It's in the millions, the hundreds, millions. Anyone? Quickly. 500? No. Go down. 250, 750, go down a bit. Go down a bit. Almost there. There is an estimated 115,000 million. Yeah, that. So I got that from the president, by the way. So please don't learn from me. There's 115 million small businesses in the world, estimated. That's a big portion of the economy, right? So if you think about it, there's them, and then there's us. Right? We're all competing for the same customers. We're all competing for people to take their money out and give it to us. So how does the small guy compete with the very big guy, right? Small facts. The one thing that technology has allowed us to have or to have access to is something called, I like to say equalization, right? It makes everyone equal in a sense, right? So the same data, stats that all these big companies have, you have access to. And the one thing I want you to take out now, out of this workshop, is that every big business started out as a small business. Think about Facebook in general. Imagine, just think about it. Once upon a time, over there in a very faraway place, a group of people in a room came up with an idea, only armed with brains and the internet. And now we're here, right? So your business, as small as it is, right? It's got this powerful tool, which is your cell phone, your mobile phone. Everything you need is in that piece of device that you have. The only problem is we don't know how to access all of these cool and nice things, right? We don't know that we don't know. And the reason why I'm aware of all these things is because by luck, sometimes, because of what I studied, information, research, so I read a lot and I'm exposed to a lot of things. I was exposed to digital marketing then a long time ago. But you have the same access. So now that we have this equalization, right? Another thing that equalizes the small business and the big business is one major thing, right? Content. Content is the greatest equalizer, right? I'm going to say something now, and depending on how connected you are on social media, you're going to get it, right? And if you're not connected, you won't get it. Noktula! Right? That's a piece of content that was on TV, right? Someone recorded the episode on a phone, put it on social media, people loved it, someone saw an opportunity, created a song, and yesterday it was playing at every club in Joburg. That's the power. That could have been a business that had that much reach, just by virtue of having a mobile phone, the internet, and creating content. So, what's great content? Now that we know that Noktula could trend without any production, any great thing, someone saw an opportunity, they understood the audience, they took a video, and they put it on, right? So the one thing I want to emphasize is, as much as things change, things remain the same, right? I'm seeing a lot of different age groups here. There were people that were there when the first newspaper sort of was kicking it, and there are people who were born when the first tweets came out in this room. So there's a lot of changes and experiences, but we're all in business and we're all competing for the same people, right? So what's the difference, right? The major difference is traditional marketing allowed us to reach people, right? Traditional marketing still works. It has worked, right? Because we could reach people. The one major thing that has changed is how we reach people now. That's placement is still placement, great creative is still great creative, messaging, understanding your audience is still the same, right? It's just how we reach people. And the one major thing that I want you to take out is that with digital marketing and social media, right, you get to measure how successful you are, right? So think about traditional marketing and putting an advert on Daily Sun, right? Let's say you're a funeral insurance company, right? And you're selling funeral insurance to the lower income earning people who are by the Daily Sun. Where are you going to place your ad? In the front, in the middle, the back, and how big, right? Logically, if you know the Daily Sun, you know there's a section towards the end. Similar to a lot of community newspapers, there's a funeral section of people who died and so on and so forth, where if you understand the consumer, you know that they're there, right? So you'll place your ad the page before or on that page, and then you're going to reach more people. So while they're captivated in this, someone died, it's sad, and then you show up, boop, I have clientele, if you're looking for funeral insurance, blah, 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 right? That's traditional marketing. How will you know that those 4 million people that buy Daily Sun, for example, if it is 4 million, saw your ad, and how many of them live in Joburg, and how many of them live in Soweto? You guess, right? So we've been guessing all of our lives, right? But the one thing we haven't been guessing that has been the same is great creative. Remember, the beauty of digital marketing is that you can measure, you can understand who, when, how, right? So the one thing I want you to take out today is understanding people, right? So great creative will always be great creative, no matter where it is, but your message has to be relevant, not 4K, not high-res, relevant, right? It has to be interesting. And it has to be for the person you're trying to reach, not what you like. Remember, you're in a business, you are selling products, you are selling stuff to people, you want their money. You should care about what they want to see, what they want to reach, right? So start rethinking content and great messaging starting today. And the one thing that you have to understand, the reason why I'm stressing this out is that we're all competing for the same timeline. Facebook has one timeline. One timeline. Instagram has one timeline. It's not split that no, it's one timeline. All those billion people, they have one timeline. So as I'm scrolling, right, how do I decide that this is the one I'm going to click on? In that 1 second when you just go whoop, whoop, something catches your attention. You're like, whoa, whoa, this I have to see. Sometimes you see the number of comments. Sometimes it's the big caption. Sometimes it's the preview of the picture and what it looks like, right? So remember, you have to understand that you're competing with bigger brands, people with more money. But your power is the mobile phone. right? Your power is that it's in your pocket, it's now. And your power is that as you are small, you have more agility, right? So, 90% of time spent on Facebook is from mobile. 75% of all data will be video by 2020. That's what Facebook says. Through all their content and all their research, this is what it looks like for us, small businesses, right? You want to reach people, people will be video, right? They're watching video. You don't even have to be a great person that understands stats and research and stuff. Just look at the fastest growing platform right now. Who wants to take a guess? There you go, right? So does it still make sense for you to not think about how you're going to build video content, right? So how do you then build video content when everything is competing with everything? How do you have the time? How do you not get it wrong, right? We don't have time to make mistakes, guys. We're small businesses, right? You have to get it right. So that's why it's important more than ever to create great content and speak to the right audiences. Quick question here, right? When you were starting your business, did you think of these people are struggling with their sneakers because they're dirty and they don't have time to wash them, so I'm going to create a business? Or did you sit at home and be like, there's surf, I've got skills, and I've got some water, so let me wash, I'm a dig? That approach matters the most, right? Because if you follow the other approach of understanding people don't have time, right? We don't have time, guys. We're all busy, right? Some of us have 3 jobs right now, right? Number 2, there's a big culture of sneakers where people really love what they have. They're even starting to trade it and exchange it. People buy sneakers, put them in the shelf so that later they can resell them, right? That's insight, right? Then you come again and you're like, okay, if that person has that expensive sneaker, do they have the time to sit down and wash their own sneakers? No. So already with that, you are understanding the audience. You're understanding the people. So when you come up with your product, your solution, it's fit for them. But what you get, which is very important, is understanding your audience. You already know that they don't have time. Number 2, you know that they love sneakers, right? So how are you going to create your content so that it's for them and not for you, right? How are you going to come up with a product or service that they want, right? So that's why reaching the right audience is the most important thing. And if you start the process like this in the beginning, it makes your job easier later. And this is why, right? Facebook has an insights tool that helps you understand your audiences, right? But the main thing is that it splits them up to 3 different types of audiences. You have core audiences, custom audiences, and lookalike audiences. Your core audience is the people that you thought of when you were starting the business. Those are your people that come in early. Those are the people that you don't have to convince too much that this is a great product or a great service. They will buy into it because they are the core audiences. And how you know them is based on their interests, behaviors, demographics, gender, and age. And that's exactly how you're going to target them when you start doing ads on Facebook. You need to understand these things, right? So I'm just trying to help you that maybe your marketing on Facebook is not working because you don't understand your audience. Maybe the amount of money that you're spending on ads is not working because you don't understand your audience. Not that it doesn't work, right? First time I played hockey, I'm from the East Rand, Springs, Equatem, ne? Then I have to play hockey. I sucked the first 3 months, right? As like with anything, right? But I can tell you now, I sucked those 3 months. In grade 9, I was already playing for the first team. So you can suck, it's okay. But just get better and understand why you suck, right? Who sucks here with Facebook ads? There you go. So if you suck, go to Facebook Blueprint. It's a learning platform. It's free. You can learn all of these things at your spare time. You can even get a certificate that you can use actually to apply for work, right? So use that time to learn so that you don't, suck. Cool. So the other types of audiences, I'm going to spend a lot of time with this, right? Because it's the core thing, and then we'll get to the tools on how to actually produce the content. Other audiences is custom audiences. Custom audiences allow you to reach people who have a relationship with your business, right? So, for example, someone on your mailing list, right? So that's a custom audience. Someone came to your event, right? You took the email address, but they're not necessarily the first person that you thought about when you're creating the business. I'll use WalkFresh as an example, right? you have a mother, let's say a single mother, 2 boys that love sneakers. Mom is busy. The kids love the sneakers, right? Mom doesn't know Letabo, nothing. Mom is not a sneaker collector, but mom is gonna go to Sports Scene in Sandton and bring the kids sneakers there, right? And when mom gets there, they're gonna take phone number and email address, and then they're gonna save that. That becomes then your custom audience, right? Those people you reach, right? Rich people have a relationship with your business. So now, how you speak to mom is different to how you speak to Wax. Making sense? The other audience is lookalike audiences. So with lookalike audiences, they allow you to find more customers similar to your best customers. So you mirror them, right? It's making sense? Cool. So going back to how you started your business. Think about your primary customer, secondary customer, and then your lookalike audience. That is going to help you a lot, even when you're producing content, knowing what to respond to, knowing what time to post. It's a very popular question if you work anywhere in social media. What time should I post? I'm sure a lot of people spoke about it today. I'm going to tell you now, don't ask me that question. It depends. Depends on your audience, who they are, where they work, what they're doing in the morning, in the afternoon. I don't know, right? So please don't ask that question. Let's think of other questions. Cool? So now that you understand your audience, right? You know your people, you're selling to them, you have their email addresses, you have their phone numbers. You need to crack this thing, right? This thing that's going to equalize the big business and the small business, right? That's what you need to crack. So remember what I said earlier? What's the equalizer? Who can remember? Content. Content is king for a reason. Remember, content is king. It's not just a phrase word and it's nice. That's the only reason you can't get off social media. It's content, right? And what I said earlier about the adverts, think of your childhood. Think of the adverts that played when the family was sitting together. You probably can sing to them now, right? Content. Content is king because content influences, right? It's even biological and scientific. Your brain, your mind, processes visual 60,000 times faster than text and anything else. Now you have this big agency that has all the time and research and insights. Then they have this bunch of creative guys that they're paying a lot of money. They sit together, they produce this great ad that you'll never forget. Now we're gonna have the same skills, the same tools, the same resources to do the same thing. Are we cool? So, what is good creative, right? Let's look at some examples. So, Facebook looked at all the content, right, on Instagram, on Facebook, WhatsApp, what's working, right? Good creative on Facebook is built for mobile. What does that mean, right? It's dynamic, it has motion, it's moving, right? It captures you. That's why we love GIFs, because they play again and again and again. In that 3 seconds, you've probably seen the same thing how many times, right? Then you don't forget. Number 2, it's well-crafted. Good creative is well thought out and is an engaging solution, right? So here we see a graphic slideshow, highlights, spring fashion, Fashion Week coming up. If you're thinking of content, right? Easy stuff. Easy stuff you can do on your mobile phone if you already have the images. It's thumb stomping. Lightweight, motion, repetitive, animation. One picture, just changing the background. You can do this. Take a white piece of paper, stick them together, 4 of them, put your product, right? Get on a chair, take a picture, and then use the apps that I'll discuss with you to actually edit. All of this was done on the phone, by the way. It's built for your audience, right? You thought about your audience before you created it. This is not just fierce, it's fierce, right? Because of the audience. To you, if you don't know, it's just fierce, right? But if you understand your audience, you know what text to use, you know what copy to use. So, through research, Facebook found that consumption in mobile feed is frequent, fast, and often sound-free. Right? I'm just going to try to break it down so that it makes sense. Think about how you engage and how you behave on the timeline, right? So when you land, there's a lot of types of content. There's someone posting some text, there's a read more thing, it's long, you're like, I'm not going to read that. There's videos, like you see the nice background, you're like, should I click on that? And then there's other stuff that goes down. But when we come to video specifically, if you have not enabled sound to play automatically, generally sound is off. Right? Now you've got this great piece of content that is sound. Ziawa, right? You want people to know that in the background it's nice. But when they see it for the first time on the timeline, there's no sound. You are banking that the sound is what's going to catch them. Now you need to change your approach, right? So sound comes after. Sound comes at the end, right? The first thing you need to figure out is, how am I going to make the person want to watch it? Before sound. So you build it without sound. Making sense? How you can make them watch again is having a preview image or a thumbnail, right? That speaks about what's in the content. If I see the headline, I'm interested in small businesses, it says Yoco Small Business Summits. Before it says the date, Joe Human, Xolani, whoever, it's speaking to me. So when I see Small Business Summit, I'm like, whoa, okay, this might be interesting, right? So you think about your audience. So I'm going to get into how now to actually start doing it, right? How agencies do it, how I've also learned over the years and how it's been working, right? You can't win on social media if you don't plan. There's a lot of magic that happens in between, right? Everyone thinks Nando's is just magic, that they just get it. Like, this tweet just comes, and you go and you post, right? There's a lot of planning. So 2017, towards the end when I was leaving my business, I got an opportunity to join the social media moderation team of Standard Bank, right? So we're working with an agency, and they got a group of us, and we started with the Happy Next campaigns and what, trying to give Standard Bank that big, new, like, understanding customers sort of voice, right? In the same agency, we were sitting across the guys that do the Nando stuff. So I got to learn, I got to see the inside, right? So here's the interesting thing. How the team just decides in terms of what to respond to and how not to respond to, it's a small piece of paper that says, this is Nando's, this is not Nando's. Full stop. They've figured out who they are as a brand, and they've figured out who you are as an audience, right? Then they meet us in between. That's it. They plan, guys. It's planned, it's thought through, it's well put together. If you want to win as a small business with the small resources you have to plan. You have to know right now that it's April, it's Easter, it's Freedom Day. What's going to happen? What are people going to be talking about? What does my audience care about? And start thinking about that content. What am I going to post in week 1 that's leading to the Easters? Am I going to have a special? The kids are at home. What are they doing, right? Already you're thinking of content, stock images, what, copy. You're collecting and you're planning. You're not going to win if you don't plan, okay? So I'm going to give you a few tools today for planning and executing, right? First things first, start with what you know better than anyone else. And what's that? Who do you know better than anything in your business? There's no one else. Your business, right? Start with what you know the best, right? Put everything together, be able to describe it, be able to communicate your business. For yourself to understand it, you need to be able to explain it and articulate it to the next person in the easiest way possible, right? So here's a brief template, right? That's going to help you plan your creative. Remember I said the thing about people and products when you're starting a business? If you were able to answer those questions before you started your business, pretty much all you do is you copy and you paste and you put it into this template. First thing you need to do is, how would you describe your business to a friend, right? That's one way to start thinking about why you are advertising, using a brief, right? And understanding the person that you're speaking to. This business, for example, is a plant business, right? And how they describe their customer is a hip, fun, urban plant shop made for plant lovers, right? Number 2, what makes your business stand out? One-of-a-kind shrubs, handcrafted pots, 50% of proceeds go to preservation. Let's pause there. Who is the target audience? Who's the customer? They're probably vegan, probably are into green economy, that kind of stuff already. It's not just someone who's into gardening. There's another kind of customer that they're into other things. Making sense? The next thing is, who are your customers as people? As people, not as LSM, right? Because if you think about it, there's a magazine that I used to buy from high school. It's called the Entrepreneur magazine. When other kids were buying sports, it's me, I was buying that thing. Not Speed and Sound, I was just reading all that stuff, right? I'm an audience, right? But if you think of entrepreneurs in general, you think of rich, successful, that's who I'm targeting. There's a 16-year-old that's interested in business. So the whole LSM thing is not going to work well for you. What's going to work for you is understanding the person as a person, their interests, their hobbies, what drives them, that kind of stuff. Making sense? So start changing how you think about your customers. Customer 2. Remember core? And then in the middle we have custom audience. Customer number 2 is a 30 to 45-year-old male, minimalist, lives in New York, and likes home decor and plants. That's your custom audience now. Now you know you're speaking to this guy differently, and you're speaking to this 26-year-old differently. She probably likes green, 100% health smoothies. And that's what she has in the morning. Before, yes, she's got plants, but as a person, that's what she likes. How are you going to create content that speaks to her so that she can come to your shop and then buy your pot plants? Making sense? Number 3, what do you need to tell them about your product or service? It's a one-of-a-kind plants right in your neighborhood. Simple, because the objective is we want in-store visits. So we have to tell them that it's in your neighborhood. It's not an e-commerce store. Making sense? So when you understand, first of all, your customer, then now you're selfish, right? Now you understand yourself. Yoco. Yoco is you want that person to get up, walk to your shop, take out some money, give it to you, take a pot plant, and go home. Now you need to think about what piece of content is going to allow you to do that. Making sense? So please take a picture, but it's also available on Facebook, Mobile Studio. I can also post it on my social media if you just look at Wax December. Yeah, you can actually download it, print it, and use it every time. And those of you who have small agencies, you can start using this for your small business. Cool? I'm going to move on. Sharp. So now we're at the fun part, right? Remember, you understand your audience. Now you're going to create content. Now the content needs to go somewhere. If you're selling funeral insurance on Daily Sun, it goes towards the end. If you are selling Walk Fresh, where does your ad go? Right? That's what you need to think of. And it's not that you like stories or you like videos. You think about your customer, right? Where is your customer during their consumer journey? Right? Consumer journey, sunrise, midday. Midday, sunset. Sunset, afternoon, supper. You need to understand your audience, right? So if you did the process correctly in the beginning, you would know by now that my customer is a student, or is someone in university, or is someone who loves sneakers. They probably drive, or maybe they use the Gautrain, or they use the Ria Vaya, blah, 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 whatever, right? In the morning, they pick up their cell phone. This is what they do. These are the kinds of pages that they like. These are the kinds of celebrities that they follow, and so on and so forth, right? And how you can get that information is very simple. You go to your social media, you click on the person's profile who liked your stuff. Even if they didn't comment, you go to their 5 last pics, or even scroll and you check. You'll get a sense and a feel of what they like. Then you look at the next comment. Then you look at the next comment, right? And you can do this even in your spare time, but it needs you to plan. This could be a Sunday thing that you do, right? And then you'll understand that these are the formats that I need to use to speak to them depending on when they are, what they're doing, and what type of contents they like. Whether it's pictures, whether it's videos, because also videos is based on if you can access them. The worst thing is to click on a story and it doesn't open because your Wi-Fi is low. Now you as a small business spent a lot of money producing that great piece of content that your customer can see. You're not going to win, right? So you have to build for mobile. So these are the types of ad formats or content formats that you can use, right? Slideshow, video, carousel, and Instagram stories. Depending on who your customer is and what you're trying to get out of them. Remember there was signal and noise that Craig Rodney spoke about? Stories function like that. There's a lot of content that is noise, and there's a lot of content that is signal. When you're using carousel, for example, customers can scroll through your photos or videos at their own speed, and there's usually a hyperlink to the website, right? Depending on what you're selling. Do you want them to book? Do you want them to make a reservation? Or do you want them to know that you have a new product launching soon? Then you don't need to have them click unless you want to get their contact details. IG stories, right? More and more businesses are using this piece of content because it converts. Like stories, you could be wondering on whatever, and once you see it, you click and you comment and you want to action other things. And you don't mind because you have the patience because you know it's only 15 seconds. So you go through it very quickly knowing that, it's fine. Whatever I see is probably meant for me, right? So framing, okay, let me just go back a bit. Before we get to framing your content, so you've chosen your format. Now what you need to understand is how your user is going to consume that content, right? Are they sitting on the laptop in the morning because they went to gym at 5 and then they have to be at work by 7 to get the latest news and then start working? If they're sitting on a laptop, it doesn't make sense for you to be serving them content here, right? They probably, while they're working, they have Spotify on or they have YouTube as well, right? And they have WhatsApp web open and then they check again on Instagram on their phone. So if you understand that kind of behavior, it makes sense or it becomes easier for you to choose your format. By the way, all of this content here was made with a mobile phone. Okay, let's get to the framing, right? Have you ever seen a video, right, on your stories, but it's just in the middle? Then it's just black at the top. What a waste of space. Like, honestly, it's a waste of space, right? Hence why the importance of creating for mobile. So you need to think, the person that's going to consume the content, are they sitting like this, texting? Or are they sitting like this, texting, right? And then you give them a video, now they have to, now I have to open that thing, auto-rotate, and then I have to change my screen, right? Now, I'm not going to be excited to watch your content because you didn't frame it properly. But there's more benefits besides just irritating your customer. You can showcase more depending on the frame that you use, right? So there's a person shooting over there right now, right? I don't know what frame they're using to capture this, right? But there's grids when you shoot on a camera, right? Depending on the type of app you use, even on the big cameras. You can set up your grid to make sure that if the person is going to view it on the phone on mobile, the subject is in the middle, and you use the ratio of the phone. Then your frame goes wider for someone who's going to watch the content on laptop, 16 by 9, right? And then the frame goes as well. Someone is going to watch it as a square on Instagram or IGTV, right? Making sense? So if you look at these examples, you have the normal 16 by 9 frame, which is normal laptop stuff. If you open your laptop, that's 16 by 9, right? Then you have your square, which mostly works on your Facebook feed and Instagram, right? Then you have vertical, which is most exciting for me because now, even on YouTube, right? If I shoot a video like this and I post it on YouTube and you watch it on the phone, it'll open on the full screen. That's what I enjoy now. So I don't have to create content using fancy equipment. I can create content using my phone and know that my viewer is going to have an immersive visual experience on what I'm trying to sell them. Making sense? Another thing I want you to pick up in terms of how the content is placed, right? Look at how the feed on Facebook appears. What's the first thing that you see when someone has a post? Is it the picture? Is it the number of comments? Is it the time they posted? What is it, right? If you look carefully, from the top, it's the brand, the person. The second thing, it's the text, then the content. When you land on your screen, that's what you see, and that's what your audience sees, right? If you go on Instagram, the first thing you see is the brand, the handle, the content, then the engagement, right? So you think of your user, how they're looking at your content, then you build it for them. So if they're viewing it on a 16 by 9 on Facebook or wherever, the first thing that makes sense is copy, right? Make sure the copy is strong enough to catch their attention, because when you read, you're reading like this. You land on the screen, you read like this. Making sense? Okay, let's get to the making of the great creative. Are we connected to the Wi-Fi? I hope we are, because there's a couple of apps that I'm going to share with you that you can download and start using. Okay, so the slides were made on a Mac. Yeah, and now they're looking a bit different because I took them to PowerPoint-ish. So yeah, please forgive me. But this is what I want to talk to you about, right? There's a lot of things that stop you from creating this great content. Think, I'm not a creative, I don't have equipment, I don't have money. There's a lot of excuses we make as small businesses, and that's why we don't grow, right? So take away the excuses. I'm equipping you with tools today. Spend time and learn and do it for yourself. Then you can let someone else do it, right? So, equipment. A tripod right now for your mobile phone, not something fancy, right? Something okay that you can use. It's about 350 Rand, right? After you get the tripod, if you want to add extra lighting, you can get a ring light. That's a bit more, right? But basically, a tripod and the phone, you're good to go. The apps I'm going to give you are free. Facebook content is also free, right? Then you need to get going. No more excuses, guys. Money, knowledge, confidence. You've come to the workshop. Now you know. Please, please go do it, right? So Facebook Mobile Studio allows you to take these 3 things as a small business, create great content, reach the right audiences, and grow your business. So take away the myth, take away everything, and just start doing it. It doesn't help you if you leave today and this afternoon you don't practice this thing. I also practice, right? If you go to my Instagram, you'll see different pieces of content. You go to Twitter, you see different pieces of content. It's things that you have to get into the habit of doing. There's no escape, guys. All of this content was made on a mobile phone. So, shooting from scratch, right? What a fancy kitchen, right? Very nice, Woolworths kind of stuff, right? Let's say you're packaging and you're delivering groceries, right? You're inspiring your audience that this is what they can cook if they can use your service because you're going to deliver to their door, right? You shoot this kind of content in your room, in your house, with a nice background, with a phone. And this was made with Boomerang. We all know Boomerang, right? All got Boomerang. So don't overthink it, guys. The only question you need to ask yourself is, what do you think the person will like to see? That's the thing, right? Then the next thing, now you showcase your product. Remember the feed now? And someone sees your content? This was on the floor, guys. No great production studio, nothing fancy. Okay? Between these two, which one did better? One on the left, one on the right, this one. Okay. So, those who said it's the video, you're correct, right? They got 3.4% more click rates. That's other stuff. There's no time to discuss that. I don't want to get into it because you're going to ask me what's the click rate, and we're running out of time. Let's just look at the content, right? You can compress a long story and create a hyperlapse. That nice thing you see when a show starts and the images move fast, hyperlapse, right? This is an energy drink company. What they did is they fixed a patio, right, while they were drinking this energy drink, and they used Videoshop to take small images and stitch them together to show them drinking the energy drink, right? From a patio. They started in the morning, they fixed it, hyperlapse, and by the time they were done, this is what helped them. It's an energy company, it's coffee, but they're talking about fixing your patio, right? So think about your audience. This was built with hyperlapse and IG stories. Who here has a bakery or is doing cakes, catering, that kind of stuff? This is for you, right? So you can do this on your phone. This company before, these were the images. Take nice still images, but now if you add motion, it changes everything. This was done with the mobile phone, right? The app is called Videoshop. Videoshop, I'm going to show you the full list of apps, but this was done with Videoshop. Stop motion. Remember how people look at content? This is not heavy content for someone who doesn't have a lot of data to consume. So here's how Videoshop works, and here's how they did that thing, right? So after this, you're going to download Videoshop, and basically, it's a bunch of small pics, images, right? So think how I want you to practice. Take a glass of water, right? Make a mark where you're going to put it, right? Have a sip, take a picture. Have a sip, take a picture. Have a sip, take a picture. Use this app, stitch them together, and just watch the glass go from full to empty. Just to practice, right? And then you'll figure out how to do the rest. Then this is what it looks like at the end. Same thing as the cakes that we're looking at. On your phone, today, this afternoon. Here's a hack for stop motion, right? There's different ways to use it. So for this example, on your stories, you can tell the audience what to do, right? That's the nice thing with stories, they're engaging, right? So if you tell them to tap to the right, and you create this piece of content, if you're into jewelry and that's what you make, every time they tap, it will move and it'll go into, then it becomes a circle. That's engaging. People will just click and click and click and go back and go back and go back, right? This was done on IG stories using VideoShop. Cool? More examples, right? I'm just gonna skip through and just tell you about the apps. So you can take existing images and give them a fresh spin, right? Something new. Here's a case study. This company, the big idea was fish art, right? And what they demonstrated is that they treat food like art. That's what they wanted to do. This was their thinking, right? And in that process, taking the care and the attention to create the perfect meal, they came up with the idea of fish art, taking shots of fresh food on their mobile phone to create kaleidoscopic images in the layout app, right? So 0 budget, 30 minutes of time. Shot on a phone, edit layout, using the features, using the apps. Eventually, this was the type of content that they came up with. Very engaging, put it on Instagram, put it on your stories. The result of this mayhem is 90% of the store revenue coming from Facebook views, right? A 4-hour queue going all the way around the block there in America, going around the street, right, for us. Okay, so this was the result. In 4 hours, with the boosted post, people were able to remix their creative and attract these types of customers. That's what I need you to understand. With your mobile phone, you can do the same thing. No more excuses. Are we cool? Okay, I'm gonna finish up very soon. You can liven up your existing photos, right? Things that you have already. There we're remixing, now we are bringing flavor, right? So for example, let's say you have an e-commerce business. You do a lot of stock images with a white background, right? Because you need to upload product images. So you already have that content. What you can do now, same content with that white background, right? You're gonna give it flavor, right? You're gonna repeat the same style, or you're gonna do a discount this time around. Remember, these are last season stuff, and you shot them already. They're sitting on the cart, no one is buying them. You wanna give them 30%. You can take those same photos, remix them, boost the post, and then call to action, 30% off. So this is what you can have at the end, right? This was built with Photoshop Mix, right? I'm gonna give you the list of the apps, guys, right? I'm gonna give you the list of the apps. So all you have to do, once you have the app, apologies for that. Find a nice background image that you like. Remember, you're gonna change the background. You have the white background, right? Replace whether it's summer, winter, whatever you're trying to promote. Cut out the background, all on your phone. No more Photoshop. You don't even need to do a tutorial on YouTube how to use Photoshop. You can just download this, and this is what you'll be able to come up with. Very quickly, very intuitive. These are apps that you have access to. Now think about you having Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, Yoco, these apps, and understanding your audience. How quick and how best can your small business become? You can become more engaging, faster than all these big brands. You can do your content daily. You can do a lot of things, right? You can also combine clips. Once you've understood how to use the short videos, you can also take different images from different places, combine them into a video. Video doesn't mean record a video. Video can be pictures that you put together into a slideshow. That's a video as well, right? So rethink how you can use these things. So here's your homework. These are the apps that you need to go download. Hope everyone can see. Also, if you go to the Facebook Creative Shop on the website, you'll find these apps. You'll download the PDF, you'll have the full list. But I can tell you right now, from using the apps, Mojo, you can create stories from video templates. Mojo is dope. Like, guys, Mojo is dope. If you want the pro version, it's $100 a month. You can do some amazing stuff, right? And also, don't just use the templates, because then everyone in this room is going to have the content that looks the same. take the templates, edit them, remix them, make it your own, right? Cool? Does everyone have this? Most of these apps are free, guys. And a lot of them don't have watermarks. Until then, if you want to use the better features, and then you have to pay. Cool? Take your small business to the next level. Download the apps, put them in an app folder, getting creative with your mobile. You know, every time you open that folder, you find your stuff. All of this, mobile phone. Built with Photoshop Mix and Video Shop. Built with Hyperlapse, Boomerang. Think about it, ice cream, simple stuff. You know, I don't know what you're selling right now, but think about your audience, what they like, then create content that will be engaging for them on the right platform, right? Choosing the right frame based on when they are consuming their content, what mind frame they are in, right? That's the key. Please, today, before you start your content plan, that brief of understanding your business, start with that. That thing that Nando's has is what helps them get ahead. Every time you look at that thing and there's a tweet and something trending, you can look and say, okay, this doesn't work, this works. Cool? That's the end. If you want the content, you can find it on Facebook Blueprint. And if you'd like to find more of these sessions outside of today, you can go to the Boost with Africa website, and that's where you'll find more of this. Thank you very much.